Well, the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, says the UK will send 4 fighter jets to Qatar to strengthen UK defensive operations as the US-Israel strikes on Iran continue. Well, with me here in the studio is Mikey Kay, military analyst for the Security Brief. Mikey, I can think of no better person to explain to me exactly what these jets are, what their role is going to be, and how important are they to this manoeuvre? Yeah,
all great questions. I think we've got a picture, actually. It's the RAF Typhoon. We've spoken about this at length. We can just bring up a picture of the Typhoon to show the viewers what it looks like, the Typhoon.
We're going to get that in a second, Mikey, yeah. But in the meantime, just explain to me what exactly these Typhoons are.
Yeah, so Typhoons basically have been deployed to RAF Akateeri already. There are Typhoons already out in Qatar. Now, there we go, there's the Typhoon there, noticeable because you've got the front canards.
They're huge.
Yeah, they are, but it makes the aircraft incredibly manoeuvrable, and the 2 engines that it's got in it are extremely powerful, so it's a very potent capability. But there are already these jets, Typhoons, already out in Qatar. They have a relationship with the Qataris, and they were deployed before Operation Epic Fury actually kicked off. The UK sent them out. They send them out on a regular basis, but obviously they were stepping up the presence just to show support. The Prime Minister has annotated that an extra 4 of these aircraft, the Typhoons, will go to Qatar, and that extends the capability in the region because there's already Typhoons and F-35s at RAF Akateeri. Now, your question on what will they do, in military parlance, Marion, we call this defensive counter-air. It's called DCA. And what that means is they'll come out and they'll probably do 2 jobs. They'll probably do cruise missile defense, and they'll probably do drone cap, which is combat air patrol. Basically, it's jets getting airborne, either going into a racetrack and making sure that their radars are pointed towards the threat, which is easterly, and looking for anything on their radar that is coming across the horizon that, when interrogated with what's called a Mode 5, which is a cryptic identification, friend or foe, that's sent to whatever the blip is. If nothing comes back, then what they'll do is they'll use what's called a tracking pod with an electro-optic camera, usually carried under the centerline of the aircraft. And if they can't get a cryptic message back saying it's Mode 5 or whatever it is they're looking at, then they'll go in closer, they'll get a positive ID with the pod, and then they'll set up themselves in order to get some sort of targeting solution. And that can be from the 12 o'clock, or they can do what's called a stern conversion, and they can come in from the rear.
So are 4 of these jets a big commitment by us, given we already have some there?
Yeah, we don't know total numbers at the moment because things are changing. But I think what's important is that what are they trying to achieve? And there's a number of ways of cutting this. So we've spoken about quick reaction alert. There's quick reaction alert in the UK. That's a 24/7, 365-day standby. And that basically takes place from RAF Lossiemouth, right in the north of Scotland, or RAF Coningsby down in Lincolnshire. Now, they might apply the same sort of principle. So it's called lines. There's a number of lines. So there might be a day line for what's called standing combat air patrol, and that would cover cruise missile defense and drone defense. And there might be a night line, which is proactive, where they go up and do the same thing. But there also might be a line which is quick reaction alert at RAF Akateeri, because obviously, the threat is 24/7. And so when these standing caps are up, they might not get any drones or cruise missiles coming across the horizon, but they also need to be prepared to act very reactively. And we're talking about 3 to 5 minutes to go from sitting in the crew room, in the cockpit, starting the engines and getting airborne.
No time at all.
No, they literally sit on quick reaction alert. The pilots actually sit in all of their gear, G-pants, they have their vests on, they've got the helmet by the side, and they're literally...
I'm getting Top Gun vibes here, Mikey.
Well,
is that dating me a little bit?
There was
Top Gun Maverick vibes.
Depends whether it was Top Gun 1 or Maverick. But if we're talking about a quick reaction alert, which didn't happen in Top Gun, by the way, if we're talking about QRA will be a critical capability, and the standing combat air patrols will be a critical capability. Now, in order to get all of those lines and 24-hour cover, you have to have quite a few spare jets in order to achieve that. So they're putting a certain number out there. The engineers will tell them how many lines they can go with for how many jets, and then they'll develop a defensive counter-air tactical protocol on that.
Okay, Mikey Kay, always good to get your expertise. Thank you very much indeed.